You cannot seriously justify $44.8 billion for a spice rack.
It is a global flavor monopoly, Maya. McCormick and Unilever Foods, you control the vanilla, you control the world.
You sound like a Bond villain. Honestly, Danone dropping $1 billion on Huel is way funnier. French yogurt money buying tech bro protein powder.
Hey, I actually drink Huel.
I know, and I silently judge you. But between your liquid lunches and the great spice merger, we have some serious footnotes to decode. The rundown.
I just can't picture the French dairy executives sitting around a boardroom drinking liquid tech bro meals.
Right? Danone buying Huel for $1 billion is the culture clash of the century. You have the makers of fine yogurt scooping up the official beige sludge of Silicon Valley.
Hey, that sludge is incredibly strategic. The analysts are calling it a massive pivot toward Gen Z consumers. Alternative protein is booming. Danone needs to age down their demographic.
$1 billion for powdered oats and pea protein, Nate. I read their filings. The margins are good, sure, but $1 billion? They are paying a massive premium for a brand that peaked in 2019.
I completely disagree. Huel actually has terrifyingly loyal subscribers. It is practically a cult. Danone gets that recurring revenue model and immediately modernizes their portfolio.
We will see how loyal they stay when the formula mysteriously starts tasting like Activia.
Okay, fair. Let's move from tech sludge to workwear. Cintas is buying UniFirst for $5.5 billion.
Which is wild because Cintas is already a giant. The antitrust whispers on Wall Street are deafening right now.
Oh, come on. Who is going to block a uniform merger? Is the FTC really worried about a monopoly on embroidered polo shirts?
Yes, it is a massive consolidation in facility services. Floor mats, cleaning supplies, the literal shirts on workers' backs. You can't just wave away market share because the industry is boring.
I guess we will see if the regulators wear Cintas polos to the depositions. We also saw QXO finalize their deal for Kodiak Building Partners today. $2.25 billion.
And Cyclerian Therapeutics doing an all-stock merger with Corsana Biosciences, neurodegenerative disease pipeline. Very quiet, very smart structuring.
But neither of those holds a candle to the infrastructure space right now. GIP and EQT are teaming up to take AES Corp private, $33.4 billion.
Absolute monster of a buyout.
Market watchers are calling it a defining moment for infrastructure private equity. The appetite for energy transition assets is completely insatiable. They are basically buying the grid.
It makes a $2 billion building materials deal look like pocket change.
Exactly, though honestly, $33 billion isn't even the biggest number on my screen right now.
Not even close, because someone just decided to spend $44 billion to monopolize your kitchen cabinet.
McCormick and Unilever Foods, $44.8 billion to be exact. Let's talk about the spice rack. The big one. $44.8 billion for a spice rack and some mayonnaise.
That is exactly how a former banker would pitch it.
I mean, am I wrong? McCormick and Unilever Foods, you are looking at absolute pantry domination. If you open a kitchen cabinet anywhere on Earth, these two companies are staring back at you.
Sure, the scale is massive, but look at the fine print on the timeline. They are not expecting this to close until mid-2027.
Which makes sense. You are merging two colossal global supply chains.
No, Nate, you do not push a close date out 3 years for supply chain integration. You do it because you know the regulators in 30 different countries are going to drag you over the coals. I read the risk disclosures. They are practically begging antitrust lawyers to take their time.
Okay, fair. But think about the pricing power. You control the flavorings, you control the condiments. Inflation hits, you just pass it right along to the grocery stores. They have no choice but to stock you.
I don't buy the pricing power argument at all. Consumers are already trading down to store brands. You slap a premium on Old Bay and Hellmann's, people will just buy the generic. Paying nearly $45 billion for legacy brands right now feels like catching a falling knife.
You are completely underestimating the emotional hold Old Bay has on the American public. People put that on ice cream.
I am ignoring that entirely.
Your loss?
Look at what Danone is doing if you want to see where consumer tastes are actually going. They just dropped $1 billion on Huel.
The Tech Bro meal replacement sludge?
It's alternative protein, Nate. Gen Z loves it. The analysts are calling it a massive strategic pivot. Danone is buying growth and a younger demographic for $1 billion. McCormick is buying your grandmother's pantry for 45 times that.
Okay, ouch. But the legacy cash flows on Unilever Foods are bulletproof. It is basically an infrastructure play at this point.
Speaking of actual infrastructure plays, GIP and EQT teaming up to buy AES Corp, $33.4 billion.
Now that is a defining moment. The appetite for energy transition assets right now is just insatiable. Everyone wants a piece of the grid.
Which is exactly why the McCormick multiple is so wild to me. You could buy one of the biggest power companies in the world, or you could buy the company that makes French's mustard, and the mustard costs $10 billion more.
When you put it like that, my old pitch decks look pretty ridiculous.
I am sure the fonts were impeccable.
They really were. But back to the regulators. We are going to be watching the early filings on McCormick closely tomorrow to see exactly how they plan to thread this global antitrust needle.
And they aren't the only ones sweating the FTC. Wait until we talk about Cintas dropping $5.5 billion on UniFirst.
Consolidating the uniform services sector. Wall Street is already whispering about a massive regulatory headache there too. Voices. So the analysts are falling all over themselves praising Danone. One note called the $1 billion Huel acquisition a brilliant strategic pivot toward Gen Z.
I read that note. I actually laughed out loud at my desk.
Wait, really? You hate the deal?
I hate the valuation. $1 billion for glorified protein powder in a minimalist pouch. Look at the margins in the alternative protein market right now. They're completely flat. Danone is buying a lifestyle brand, not a food tech company.
Oh, come on. You're looking at this like a spreadsheet. Danone needs relevance. They're buying shelf space in the minds of 22-year-old tech bros who forget to eat lunch. That is prime real estate.
I'll believe the synergy when I see the revenue data. I'm much more interested in what market watchers are saying about the AES buyout, $33.4 billion from GIP and EQT.
Now that is a monster.
Right? Analysts are calling it a defining moment for infrastructure private equity. The appetite for energy transition assets is basically insatiable right now.
Insatiable is the right word. Everyone's trying to consolidate. It's happening everywhere, not just energy. Did you hear the whispers about Cintas?
The uniform guys? They just bought UniFirst for $5.5 billion.
Exactly. Wall Street is buzzing that antitrust regulators are sharpening their knives. The uniform services sector is getting way too concentrated. Same thing with Keurig Dr. Pepper quietly scooping up JDE Peet's. Competitors are absolutely scrambling over global coffee distribution rights.
Speaking of antitrust, that's exactly what we need to watch with the McCormick and Unilever mega merger.
Yep, let's look at what they're actually filing tomorrow to see how they plan to sneak a $44 billion spice rack past the regulators. Spill the tea. I can't stop picturing a boardroom full of chic French executives at Danone pretending to enjoy a shaker of beige Huel sludge.
It's a $1 billion corporate midlife crisis. Danone buying a Tech Bro meal replacement powder just screams desperation for Gen Z relevance.
See, I completely disagree. I think it's a brilliant pivot. Traditional dairy is stalling, and the alternative protein market is exploding. They just bought their way into every coder's pantry.
They bought an overhyped dietary supplement. I read the analyst notes calling it a strategic pivot. But come on, do you really see the Activia yogurt crowd suddenly chugging liquid meals?
You lack vision. It's the ultimate portfolio hedge. But speaking of things that make me want to lose my lunch, the Wall Street whispers around the Cintas and UniFirst deal are getting incredibly loud.
The $5.5 billion uniform empire. Yeah, antitrust regulators are definitely going to have a field day with that one.
You can't just consolidate the entire facility services sector and expect nobody in Washington to notice. Who else is going to wash the floor mats?
Right. It's basically a monopoly on name tags and industrial laundry.
And while everyone is obsessing over uniforms, Keurig Dr. Pepper is quietly trying to corner the global caffeine market. The insider chatter about their JDE Peet's acquisition is wild. Competitors are legitimately panicking over grocery store shelf space.
That's the real blood sport. Forget tech. If you want ruthless corporate warfare, look at coffee distribution rights.
100%, which actually brings us to the biggest grocery cart collision of the decade.
$44.8 billion of pure pantry domination.
We need to talk about exactly how McCormick and Unilever plan to get this mega spice rack merger past the regulators tomorrow. Tomorrow's radar. So tomorrow morning, I am refreshing Edgar constantly for the McCormick and Unilever filings. I need to see exactly how they plan to sell this $44.8 billion spice rack to regulators.
Good luck with that. The real antitrust bloodbath tomorrow isn't going to be about mayonnaise and black pepper. It is the Cintas and UniFirst deal.
Wait, really? The uniform guys?
$5.5 billion to consolidate the facility services sector. The FTC is going to have a field day. They are basically trying to monopolize the concept of a name patch.
Oh, come on. It is a highly fragmented market. But fine, while you obsess over work shirts, I am watching Danone. They just paid $1 billion for Huel. $1 billion. For tech bro protein sludge.
The data supports it, Nate. Gen Z loves alternative proteins. It is a smart pivot.
I drank it every day during my analyst years. It tastes like liquid cardboard.
Well, tomorrow we will see if the market prices in your lingering trauma.